The Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa says it's happy that it's reached an agreement with government on spending by officials. Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, the CEO of Fedhasa, joins us now. Thank you so much for your time today. I think let's start with that cap on the spend of government officials. Where does it stand and what impact has it had on the industry?
Well, government introduced cost containment measures, I think it was between 2013-2014 financial year. It was mainly to make sure that government employees don't spend over a certain amount of money when they book accommodation, as well as car rental, and as well as flight bookings. Now, we as the industry have been, we work with government to make sure that, we adhere to those cost containment measures and also to put, the officials in check when it comes to those kinds of spending. So we went on to 2016, 2017. Yeah. Now we are on a new financial year where we have had a discussion with National Treasury to say, look, you've got to consider three things when it comes to these cost containment measures. One, the VAT increase, the 1 percentage point VAT increase. Two, sugar tax. As an industry that is involved in entertainment, we are by nature very hospitable.
Lots of sugar.
So there's lots of sugar, and we need the government to consider that because it's a big part of our business. You will see all the large hotels will have food and beverage managers to sort of make sure that those things are kept in check, and also to consider inflation. So within our discussion, we reached an agreement to say that those three things must be considered to a point where National Treasury then amend the regulations in terms of travel, by about 2% when we did the calculation. However, 2% doesn't cover inflation. It may cover sugar tax and 1% VAT increase, but at the end of the day, there is still that gap, inflation gap that we still are challenged with, and we still need to negotiate.
You must have shown them some statistics on the impact that this cap had. What impact did it actually have?
Look, when you have this kind of cap, you ought to look at, it's like a box, because this is the maximum allowable amount of money you can charge for either 1, 2, or 3, or 4 stars, and also categories of hotels, B&Bs, and etc. Now, when you have this box, you want to be able to have a movement within the box. We are not saying that all our members are charging the maximum. Some are charging the mid-range, some are charging the middle, some are charging, the maximum. But we needed, from our point of view, to increase that box, at least by inflation, and at least by, taking consideration, the VAT.
Yeah.
Now, it does have an impact in the industry. We are driven by, supply and demand. It's in the travel and tourism businesses, even in the airline businesses, if more people are booking the seats go up. Same as in the hotel business, we try to sort of manage our yield to make sure that, we can sort of, run our business in the most effective way and, give the return on investment to our shareholders.
But how dependent are you on government business, though? Look,
just to give you an idea, government spent, national and provincial government, about 9.5 billion rand on travel. This has came down. It used to be just over 10 billion rand. With these cost containment measures and also, government not traveling, it has gone down by, let's say, about 500 million rand. We're not counting municipalities and we're not counting other state-owned entities, just national and provincial. Now, about 30% of that is accommodation. So you're looking at a figure of around 2.8 to 3 billion rand. So it's a significant amount of business, and we value it as the industry. It's almost like a bedrock of, the hospitality sector, especially when it comes to those B&Bs, those hotels. So we want that business, but we want it fairly. And we want to be, for it to be considered as much as our input costs, goes up by inflation, which is about 5.3%, so to speak.
Outside of government, let's look at, general local tourism, given the factors you've cited, the VAT increase, the fuel levy hike that's also come in. Are you anticipating that fewer locals will be traveling as well?
Yes, we are anticipating that fewer, locals will travel, and this is coupled, with many different things. But the economy is the biggest part of it. People are starting to reprioritize their expenditure. looking at, you know, do I need to travel that far, or do I need to travel closer?
Yeah.
Or do I need to travel at all? We have seen when Fedhasa did the domestic tourism survey, I think it was 2015 survey, 2016, we have seen the decline on the number of overnight trips that, you know, South Africans are taking. And you would have seen, you know, over the past, you know, about a year and a half, there's been a lot of effort that has been put into the domestic tourism, you know, from government point of view, from South African point of view, to try to promote, you know, different places around the country for people to travel, and we support that. You know, we are beneficiaries of that. In turn, when we benefit from that, we're able to sustain our businesses, we're able to create more jobs. So it is quite important for us that, you know, the economy sort of turn around.
Certainly.
People travel as much as they can. It's also important that, you know, corporates are making enough money, you know, to make sure that they have more investment in the country. With more investments within the country, be it in construction or any other industry, there's a travel that's involved. You know, as an industry, we benefit from all those things. So it is important for us that the economy does better.
Yeah.
It's important that the corporates does better. It's important that, you know, government also does better, so that the industry, you know, can continue to thrive and we can continue to create jobs.
We'll leave it there. Thanks for your time. Today, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa is with the Federated Hospitality Association of South Africa.